on pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. Why are you saying this, Trump? After running on this is going to blow up in your face, Trump. I don't think you realize it's not only just MAGA, Make America Great Again movement. It's not only them, but it's people on the left. It's people who are in between. It's young and old. It's different generations, different colors, different religions. The American people want the list. Pam Bondi said it was on her desk. You could have easily said that, oh, we don't know where it's at. Oh, we're investigating. Something happened. Like you could have done what a lot of lying liars like to do, and that is lie and say, we're finding it. It's Zoink Scoop. It's a Scooby-Doo mystery. Are you Reggie? But no. Instead, you say something like this.
President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say let them have it.
John Kemper, Trump done said it. Move on. We aren't releasing anything. Let it go. No, we're not going to let this go. All right, the story's been going on for 5 years. Trump, you ran on it. This was a campaign promise. I remember 2024, all right? 2024, year of the dragon and the Chinese zodiac. I mean, come on. You're not going to get away with it. You're just not going to get people to forget about something like this. I am not going to forget this. No one here should forget this. And I think the fact that now there's an attempt by the media, by the establishment, to bury the story is evidence enough that something is wrong here. When Pam Bondi said it was on her desk, well, then it's on her desk, and we need to know, because this story came out, again, 3 hours ago. Trump says U.S. Attorney General should release any credible information on Epstein. What? What?
Your daughter-in-law said that there should be transparency in the Epstein case. Do you agree with her, sir?
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that. I would like to see that also. But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence for something like that. But she's handled it very well. And it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
Yeah. So, U.S. President Donald Trump said Attorney General Pam Bondi should release whatever she thinks is credible to the late offender, Jeffrey Epstein, as he faces a rare backlash from supporters after seeking to draw a line under the case. Well, here's the thing, Trump. It's not only just... You do realize why you got into office is because the Biden-Harris administration ran a horrible 4 years. There was inflation, ridiculous wars happening, political corruption. And I mean, look, I was ever hopeful that maybe American voters would wake up and look at third parties and independents and realize that both parties are disgusting. But you ran on, the fact that people were sick of Biden. You had not only just Trump supporters, you had people sick of Democrats, you had independents, but you were saying some things that, yes, people across the spectrum would agree with. Ending the war in Ukraine, trying, quotation, maybe, to bring peace in the Middle East. That's, by the way, folks, that's never going to happen. The war will be eternal. I'm so sorry. After everything that's happened since 2023, the war is eternal. The war is eternal. The war is eternal. Simple as that. Uno, dos, tres. Okay? But now, Trump, you also ran on the Epstein files, releasing them. You had people part of your administration, good old Dan Bongino, for example, having his podcast talk about it. You had a lot of people, a lot of influencers. And the thing is, yes, an influencer can bring the clout of their supporters. But the thing is, what I love about my audience is that all of you are free thinkers. All of you can make your own decision, and all of you can realize that, hey, whoa, why is Kit saying, so, hey, if I tell you vote Democrat, vote Republican, forget citizen ballot initiatives, you'd be like, what the hell's wrong? No, that ain't right. And then after all this time, we got to moveon.org. Moveon.org from what? Trump also said Tuesday he did not understand what the interest or what the fascination is with the case. I'll tell you why. Because there are men, women, and children, specifically children, who have been victims of trafficking. And, you know, maybe this says a lot here, but controversial statement here. Maybe there are Americans who, I don't know, don't want to see evil run amok, don't want to see young people get hurt, their lives ruined. Nobody wants to see these rich scumbags. I mean, all these stories that have come out in the past. I mean, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, flies like a duck, swim like a duck, then it's a duck, right? I mean, I'm not wrong here. People want to know, and Trump isn't ready for it. And see, the glorious backlash is beautiful here. It is beautiful, because here you have MTG, you know me. Now, I did say in a previous segment that, hey, she's clashing with Trump, but she says something very interesting here about the GOP.
And real quick,
Please.
so it's being reported that House Republicans unanimously voted to block the release of the Epstein files, and I want to straighten out the record right now. That is not true. If I could vote, okay. If I could vote to release the Epstein files, guys, you would have my vote. I would vote yes. Here's what just happened. It was a procedural vote, and we have these all the time. It's called a PQ. It's vote.
Procedural vote. Remember, she said that, but I want to pull something out. Okay. I want to pull something out here. From Hotspot, Republicans voted unanimously to seal the Epstein files permanently, while Democrats voted unanimously against it. Republicans, yay, 211. Democrat, 210. Non-voters, 9 Republicans, 2 Democrats.
On this vote, the yeas are 211, the nays are 210. The previous question is ordered. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Wow. Great job. All right, MTG. Say that again one more time for the people in back.
Epstein files, guys, you would have my vote. I would vote yes. Here's what just happened. It was a procedural vote, and we have these all the time. It's called a PQ. It's voting on the previous question. And if the Democrats had won the previous question, which I know sounds insane, it's one of these crazy rules in the House that are hard to understand. That means they would control the House floor. And that means they could bring up anything. They could bring up impeachment articles against President Trump. They could bring up a whole package of insane Democrat agenda items and force votes on the House floor on these things. That's what we voted against. We never allowed Democrats to have control of the House floor because we control the House floor.
Yes.
So it's
So I'm going to assume that Massey was a no vote, still looking more into that, but he was part of the force to vote with Representative Ro Khanna to publicly release the Jeffrey Epstein files. More on that very soon, but it's very clear that there's heavy fracturing within the GOP. So that says a lot. Just a few hours later, Representative Massey, who was delighted at being a thorn in the president's side, said he would try to use a long-shot procedural gambit known as a discharge petition to force a vote on requiring the Department of Justice to release Epstein files. But unfortunately, it looks like even they were opposed against that. So, yeah, more on that. But again, it looks like there's only a few handful of people that are, standing up against Trump and the cover-up. So
because we've been lied to by the federal government for so long, I feel like there's some type of like there's a pain point, right? And a pressure cooker that gets heated up on issues like the Epstein issue, right? And obviously that's something that's taken over a lot of the online dialogue. a question here about it that concerns either testifying or testimony for Ghislaine Maxwell potentially before Congress, or if you would support members like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Anna Paulina Luna on the release of subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Marjorie or Anna about that specific subject, but I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking about Reagan. Okay. Reagan is not the God Emperor of mankind. I'm all for, listen, I'm a huge fan of Warhammer 40K. Okay. But Reagan is not the God Emperor of mankind. FDR is not the God Emperor of mankind. And when it comes down to the American people, it seems unanimously, it's not only, again, I want to be clear on this. This isn't a left-right issue. This is an American issue. And I say this as somebody on the left who is politically homeless. I want those files released. I will stand next to a Trump supporter and say, and if they want those files released, I'll be like, yes, my friend over here wants the files released. And I'm going to point over there. My friend over here wants those files released. And I'm going to point to 100 million other people behind me saying, my fantastic friends behind me too want those files released. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. You don't say all this stuff. I mean, if you were going to lie, just don't say it was on your desk. You could have just easily said, hey, we're looking for it. Where is it? But no. So now we have to assume that there is a cover-up. Now, again, when you assume things, hey, things can blow up and things can go wrong. We can't get emotional about this. We have to be clear. We have to be clear-headed. We have to be smart. We have to be self-aware. We need to know. We need to double-check and triple-check all our notes. But I am not going to ignore all the years of photos, videos of Epstein with so many top people. And then again, too, why is Maxwell in jail then? I mean, if there's nothing there, why is Maxwell in jail? Like, when you tell a lie, be honest about it. Like, try and tell a good story. I mean, make it worthwhile to crack open. If you're going to tell a lie, as we all know, all
lies will be exposed.
Especially in 2025. Shout out to Dr. Nick for that interview. Seriously, Nick, without you, man, I mean, honest to God, that was a video that saved my life. That was an interview, man. Shout out to Cat Williams, the prophet of our time.
Talk to Marjorie or Anna about that specific subject, but I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know. When she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it, that were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody.
Well, hold on. Say again, sir. Say again.
That we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know. When she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it, that were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved so that they can deal with violent crime and public safety and election integrity and going after Act Blue and the things that the president is most concerned about, as we are. So I'm anxious to get this behind us.
Anxious to get this behind us. You know what else? You know what else I found gross? Now, this person is not a politician. The tweet I'll be showing you is not a politician at all. And this just came to my attention just this morning. And I'm like, holy cow, dude. You sound like one of the villains in your books. Stephen King writes, the Epstein client list is real. So is the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. First of all, go F yourself, you son of a... So all these people coming forward, it's just one big, just fake conspiracy, right? You see, there's no middle ground here. All right? You can't let bygones be bygones. You can't forget it. You cannot let these statements just disappear. The internet's not going to forget it. Okay? So What are we looking at here? Nothing but absolute disgusting garbage from our politicians. I want to play this video here. It's from bloody well. Do you condemn Hamas? By the way, the woman right here, see where the arrow is at? See where my little arrow is at? She was part of that fantastic group that was cheering up and down when they had those files released. Now, it's important to hear her side of the story because you know what? Something to consider. Maybe those influencers and people who are jumping up and down with those files were caught off guard. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. And it was all set up.
I was there. I was one of the new media figures that were invited to the White House. I was given one of those infamous, infernal white Epstein files binders that day. And we weren't actually invited, by the way, to be given those files. We weren't invited to be given anything on Epstein or even to meet with Pam Bondi. We were there for a cool initiative by the White House to, ostracize the mainstream media and instead say, hey, we're not going to reward bad behavior and propagandists. We're going to give you access to the upper echelons of the Trump administration. That's why we were there, to meet with all kinds of officials in the Trump White House. But during our maybe 15-minute meeting with Pam Bondi, she brings in these bankered boxes full of these Epstein files and hands them to us. And as soon as we saw them, we were like, whoa, Epstein files phase 1. What are we getting our hands on? She clarified very quickly and said, no, this is, there's nothing juicy or dirty in here. This is what was given to me by the FBI when I requested these files, as I promised you I would. But a whistleblower called me last night and said, actually, the SDNY is hiding truckloads of these documents, trying to subvert the president, the attorney general, and you. So the real story is that there are still deep state swamp creatures in the federal government trying to subvert the president's agenda. That was the story. Now, here's the strange part of this story, and it started right. The red flag started right from that moment, is on the front of that binder, that cover sheet that said the most transparent administration in history. Attorney General Pam Bondi told us at the White House that day that she created that cover sheet, that she printed it, she created it, and she was very proud of it. The most transparent administration in history. She was bragging about this, which was the first red flag to me, because I thought, well,
all right, I'm going to pause here. I'm sorry, and I'll rewind it. In this business, you got to be very careful when it comes down to politicians or endorsing people or supporting people, okay? You got to be very careful. Now, I learned this lesson the hard way with Bernie Sanders and a few other times here too. And perhaps this is why I'm also making some changes on the show because, yeah, I've interviewed third parties and independents because I view libertarians and Greens and socialists and independent candidates as people worthwhile to interview because they're challenging the two-party system. But when it comes down to these lawmakers or running in a Democrat Party or Republican Party, I mean, a lot of you might notice that, during the election cycle, I didn't interview a whole bunch of politicians or candidates running for office. I mean, I only interviewed people that were independents, okay? And I got to tell you, maybe it's just me being jaded or the ghosts of the past, constant disappointment, but it's you have to have a sense of like you're gonna get lied to and you will be manipulated and you will be used. And the best example, the prime example, would be AOC and how she climbed on the backs of TYT and a few other channels too, so that she could get her name out there. Okay, you got to be careful. And with the Trump administration, a lot of these influencers, yes, let's be clear, let's not ignore the clout, but everything has a price, including your integrity and consistency. Everything has a price. And when you start wrapping around and being around the presidency and all the hype, because everyone was on board, was running on the campaign trail. But if that was a red flag, you should have found a way to get out of there. So let this be a warning, a lesson. Anyone who perhaps maybe this YouTube channel is inspiring you to do your own kind of content creation. You ever find yourself in a situation like that? Remember these words and find a way to get out. Say you got a bathroom emergency and run as fast as you can out of there. I don't know. That's just me. Without the way she's explained this does sound like a setup, in my opinion.
He told us at the White House that day that she created that cover sheet, that she printed it, she created it, and she was very proud of it. The most transparent administration in history. She was bragging about this, which was the first red flag to me, because I thought, well, what's in this? There's nothing in this. And I asked her at the time, I said, have you seen the documents that the SDNY is hiding from you? The real dirt, she told us. And she said, no. So you fast forward a little bit, at the time, she's the Attorney General of the United States. It's a friendly White House because I'm a supporter of President Trump. You give the Attorney General the benefit of the doubt. You hope she produces. Obviously, we can talk about the botched embargo that led to the media frenzy that day, but you can't square what Pam Bondi said in that room to me, bragging about the cover sheet of that binder. You can't square that with her appearances on Fox News, where she says, it's on my desk. The client list, the Epstein client list, where she promises the real stuff, videos and photos and recordings, that's going to be delivered to you. You can't square that then with its unsigned memo that probably she leaked to Axio saying, actually, there's no client list, there's no blackmail. He definitively killed himself. You're not getting any more information. So, Pierre, suddenly we're left in this situation. And the reason this narrative is so important is because it demonstrates why the base cares about this, why it's not just an online issue. Listen, I was never one of those podcasters that dug deeply into all of the details and nuances of the Epstein case itself. I was never one that was filing FOIA requests for government information about it. But all of a sudden, to the base, because of Attorney General Pam Bondi's lies, all of a sudden to the base, the Epstein files start to represent the justice that we voted for.
Now, I want to pause here. Pause for a second. In my opinion, Marco Rodriguez says all these grifters are doing mental gymnastics. Possibly so. Possibly so. I, for one, heavily question just their integrity. And, look, if they're talking about it, and you're building an audience about it. You're also going on other people's shows that perhaps maybe did a FOIA request, okay? Or either that were associated with people doing FOIA requests or trying to get in touch, just trying to figure things out, like trying to get the bigger picture. It is our social responsibility to make sure this story is not freaking buried, okay? It is our social responsibility to make sure that nothing is hidden, that everything is exposed in real time. That's what matters. Real time. But it's okay. We have the president saying, what's the big deal? The big deal is that there are real victims. The big deal is that there are innocent people, some of which, victims who would have testified, are now silent. Because remember, some people are gone now.
I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't
But you knew him, buddy.
understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible.
What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? I saw it earlier. I didn't want to just yell at him, but what are you laughing at?
Information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say let them have it.
Well, let them have it. Well, where is it? People want to know. People want to know. People demand answers. Can we not get answers here? All right. And if he's not prepared for this, then he needs to know, and he needs to get ready for really how people are going to be responding to him. And he's getting ratioed on his own True Social network. I want to pull up this. This is from the 14th of July. Right here, from the 14th of July. And I think everyone needs to see it. And, correction, the 12th of July. I'm sorry, the 12th of July. where he's just wondering what's going on with his guys and gals. What's going on with my boys, and in some cases, gals. They're going after Attorney General Pambani, who's doing a fantastic job. We're one team, MAGA, and he goes on a list blaming Democrats and everything else. Let's keep it that way. Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Here's the thing. I think there's a lot of people who are jumping up for joy that Jeffrey is gone, but we want to know the damage that he did to people. We want to know who he hurt. We want to know the pain and suffering. We want to know how to stop this guy so it never happens again. So, Trump, you're not talking your way out of this one. You're not backing out of this one. There's no way out of this. There's no way in any scenario that everything's going to be all good and all okay. You're going to say that it's fake, or that no one's going to care about it, that there's no outrage. There is an outrage. This story shall not die. Nobody let this die. It's doing the right thing and standing with all the victims, those that cannot speak, those that are afraid to speak, and those that have heroically stood up to speak out. Because mark my words, if we don't keep pushing this, there will be another Epstein or Epsteins out there. In fact, here's a shocking moment that'll keep you up at night. They already exist. It's already out there.